Sergeant at Arms, please bring forward our distinguished guests to the stage. Sergeant at Arms, please bring forward the colors. If you could all decap or put your hand over your heart. Does that make sense? Will you now all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. You may be seated. I am honored to introduce Reverend Trent Williams to give the Girls and Boys State invocation.
Let us pray. Most gracious Creator, always quick to love and slow to anger, as we gather this night celebrating a high point in our week together, may we be reminded of your loving care upon us and your call to justice and mercy. We give thanks for the gifts of this week, for students eager to learn and open to new experiences, for staff of giving back to their time and service to a cause greater than themselves, for friendships, both new and rekindled. As we look toward the concluding days of this program, may we be inspired to carry forth the ideals that we have learned and debated and campaigned on into our communities and our world. We have been blessed to know freedom, and we have been reminded of its cost. Keep us mindful of our responsibility to carry it forward into generations as yet unborn. And as we do so, give us grace. Grace enough never to sell ourselves short. Grace enough to risk something big for something good. Grace enough to know that this world is now too dangerous for anything but truth and too small for anything but love. So take our minds and think through them. Take our lips and speak through them. Take our hands and work through them. And take our hearts and set them on fire. In all your many names we pray. Amen.
Dear friends, on behalf of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the American Legion and I would like to welcome all participants to the 2019 Girls and Boys State program hosted at Stonehill College. We are proud to support this critically thoughtful program that teaches young women and young men democratic values and encourages active civic engagement through an intensive week-long program that immerses students in grassroots democracy. Each individual participant will gain an incredible insight into the functioning of their state government and will leave this week better prepared for their future role as a responsible adult citizen. We would also like to personally extend our warm congratulations to all of the participants and organizers of this year's Girls at State and Boys State program. It is through your hard work that our leaders of tomorrow are better equipped to deal with the problems that our nation will face. Thank you. I am excited to introduce the Honorable Mia Theophilus to deliver the Girls State Oath of Office to the Girls State Constitutional Officers.
Will the new officers-elect and the audience please rise? Will the new officers please raise your right hand and repeat after me, giving your name where I say mine. I,
Sarah Young,
do solemnly swear and affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon the office I am about to enter according to the rules and regulations
according to the rules and regulations
of the Constitution of Massachusetts Girls State
of the Constitution of Massachusetts Girls State
and the laws of this Commonwealth,
and the laws of this Commonwealth,
so help me God.
so help me God.
You may lower your hand, and you in the audience may be seated. Congratulations.
I will now introduce former Girls State Governor Richie Cadet to announce the Girls State 2019 constitutional officers.
Good afternoon, everyone. Alrighty, it is my honor to be here tonight to introduce you guys to your new 2019 officials. I have for auditor, Elise Kuffning. I have for Attorney General, Merrill Dahl. I have for Treasurer, Hannah McDonald. I have for Secretary of State, Kylie McCumber. I have for Lieutenant Governor, Evelyn Milliburn. And last but not least, for your 2019 Girls State Governor, I have Sarah Gardner. Alrighty guys, if you guys could please stand and help me welcome your governor, Sarah Gardner, to give you guys the award.
Good evening, everyone. Wow, I can't believe I'm actually standing here. I have a lot of thank yous to do to start off. To the American Legion Auxiliary of Massachusetts Girls State, thank you for this opportunity. Also to all the teachers that sent me here, I wouldn't be here without their support. And to my grandmother, who I was on the phone with when I found out about the opportunity to go here. And she begrudgingly told me that her best friend also attended Girls State, and she was not sent. So she told me, I have to go. And to Bonnie and Andrea, the directors of Girls State, thank you so much as well. I learned a very important message on my first day here. Cynthia told me that no one said good morning, or good evening, or good afternoon. And I thought that that was incredible, that we forgot to say those very things that mean so much and that are so respectful. As a group, I've watched as we all say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to every adult that we pass. And I think that we have grown so much just by saying those two words. To my counselors, Casey and Valerie, City of Goodwill. Thank you for answering all of my repetitive questions. I know I ask a lot of questions, but also thank you for giving me hugs and supporting me through this. I know it has been a very fast-paced experience, but I'm so grateful for having met you. To my City of Goodwill, once again. I have met my new sisters, my new best friends, and you guys have helped me make my posters, you have stayed up with me, you have listened to my speeches, and I am eternally grateful. There's a very special person that I would like to acknowledge, and that is Nora, who was also running for governor. I have learned you have taught me so much about intelligence and poise, and I am so thankful that we have been in this process together, and that we sat together while we wrote our speeches, and we sat together while we made our posters, and that we were here together when they announced the people that won. And I wish that you were up here with me, and I'm so thankful that I met you, and I hope that we stay in touch. So round of applause for Nora. Everyone here has made a huge impact on me. You have continued to support me throughout my entire race. I told you that I normally don't run for things that I don't think I'm going to win and that I have a fear of failure. But you coming up to me in the dining halls and telling me that I have your vote and that my speech was good, or giving me a hug when I'm nervous, that has meant so much to me, and you have been so welcoming in fostering me to be here right now. After the press conference yesterday, someone came up to me and told me that my speech related to them on a personal level. We cried together, and we realized that this world is going to be a better place because of this experience this week. Your attention during speeches has calmed my nerves, and I have been forever changed by all of your encouragement. Also, at the whistle stop in the press conference, I just want to say, amazing job with those questions. They were definitely tricky. For myself, I've learned that I need to take chances if I want to succeed in life. I've also learned that I want to be someone that's good enough for you to want to vote for. I've learned that the people around me care about this country just as much as I do. I've learned that there are women that I can talk to about real-world issues. I've learned also that the problems we've discussed this week are not going away. Just because we write the bills and we talk about things we want to change doesn't mean that they are changed. And I want to leave you with that. We have an obligation to take action and to remember, as women, that we can make our mark on this world. Girls State, you hold a special place in my heart, and I see myself coming back here for quite some time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I am now honored to introduce the Honorable Judge Curran to deliver the Boys State Oath to the 2019 Constitutional Officers.
Good evening, and thank you very much for the introduction. Let me ask the members of Boys State, elect senators, governor, lieutenant governor, and constitutional office to stand, please. Now, it's all very nice to honor these young men, and they've done something, as I've told you several times this week, that I could never do, which was win an office at Boys State. Maybe someday they'll give me an honorary office. But while they're up here, I just want to reach out to the parents of all these people. Are they here tonight? Some of them here tonight? Could they stand, please, and we'll honor them? All right, they're already standing in the back. Okay, good. Thank you. Not for nothing, but without your parents, you wouldn't be here, right? So will the new officers please raise your right hand and repeat after me. Now, giving your name after where I say mine. I, Dennis J. Curran. Do solemnly swear and affirm. That I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform. All the duties incumbent upon the office. I'm about to enter. According to the rules and regulations of the Constitution of Massachusetts, Boys State.
According to the rules and regulations of the Constitution of Boys State.
And the laws of the Commonwealth.
And the laws of the Commonwealth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. You may raise your
I will now bring forward the former Attorney General of Massachusetts Boys State, Marcus Holt, to introduce the 2019 candidates.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marcus Holt, and it's an honor to stand before you tonight. Tonight we recognize a series of events, and I would like to give a special recognition to the Massachusetts Boys State 2009 Constitutional Officers. Your 2019 Auditor, Benjamin Sherry. Your Treasurer, Connor Ryan. Your Secretary of State, Jolston Bays. Your Attorney General, Cameron Mislovic. Your Lieutenant Governor, Ryu Huni Iowa. And your Governor, Angus Kerr. And your two senators, Samuel Osa Agubins and Lucas Azevedo. And once again, another round of applause for all of your officers. Thank you. And now I would like to introduce the new governor, Angus Kerr, to speak at the podium.
G'day, I'm Angus, I'm Australian, and I am your Governor of 2019 Boys State. Victory. Victory is the medicine with which we will solve our many issues. I have been victorious today. Tomorrow, we will all be victorious. Victory is gained through resolution and determination. We have been determined, we have been resolute, and we will be victorious. We've arrived here from across the state, from Provincetown to Pittsfield. We've all come to understand our great Commonwealth, maybe give back a little and pad our resumes. I applaud my fellow girl state governor for her success, and I hope that together we can all reflect the positive future of our great state and of the country as a whole. We are a generation of leaders, and we have proven this here this week. To Boys State, you've chosen me as your governor, as your revolutionary. You've chosen me to make change. And, comrades, I promise that I will make a change. I am glad to call each and every one of you my mates. We have schools, conspiracies, pollution, and criminals which need our attending. If we unite, forget our differences, and work to overcome these issues, no problem will be left unsolved. The secret of freedom lies in educating people, whereas the secret of tyranny is in keeping them ignorant. This program has taught us all the secrets of policies, the secrets of government, and the secrets of our own Commonwealth. We are together far more educated than before we entered this program, and far more free. I would like to thank the Legionnaires in this hall and the blue shirts who have guided us through this program, and the juniors who have opened their minds and hearts to new ideas, new experiences, and new people. Thank you. I look forward to resolving future issues and serving every single one of you. My name is Angus Kerr, and I am your governor.
Jonas, I would love to hear some music. Oh, Mr. McDermott, I would love to hear some music from the Girls and Boys State Band. Immediately after. Are they prepared to play? And before we continue with the rest of the inauguration, I would invite the 2019 Girls State Constitutional Officers to stand to receive their medals as well. We have Governor Sarah Gauger, Lieutenant Governor Evelyn Milburn, Secretary of State Kylie McCumber, Treasurer Hannah McDonald, Attorney General Muriel Dole, and Auditor Elise Kniff. I am now honored to introduce Jill Dreskis, the Director of Americanism in the Division of the American Legion. Thank you so much.
Well, good evening. Governors, constitutional officers, honored Massachusetts boys and girls state citizens, my fellow Legionnaires and Legion family, and all distinguished counselors, staff, and guests. It is my distinct honor to be here this evening, to stand before Massachusetts boys and girls state tonight to extend my heartiest of congratulations as the director of the Americanism Division at American Legion National Headquarters, and as a proud dual member of the American Legion and the American Legion Auxiliary. To all boys and girls staters, I give you a hearty congratulations on your selection to this premier program and for your participation. The American Legion believes strongly that education and citizenship is tantamount to our nation's prosperous future for this country and to continuing our American way of life. And Boys and Girls State are, without a doubt, among the very best citizenship and leadership development programs that are offered to high school students, if not the very best. The Legion family is so proud of each and every one of you that you've chosen to actively engage in your own future that you hold. A combined 3 million men and women, just like yourselves, have attended Boys and Girls State over the last 80+ years. The creation of the very first Boys State is credited to 2 Legionnaires in the 1930s from the state of Illinois. They were concerned about young people in Nazi Germany and Soviet Russia attending the fascist and communist youth camps of that era. To counter that, those 2 Legionnaires started a movement in the United States to stress to youth the importance of a democratic form of government and the importance of preserving and perpetuating that democratic form of government. Thus, the first American Legion Boys State program was born. The very first official Boys State program took place in 1935, and believe me, it had very modest beginnings. It was in Springfield, Illinois, on the state fairgrounds, in a cattle barn that had been cleaned and disinfected. But then it oh so magically became the cities, towns, counties, and state of that very first Boys State. 2 political parties were formed, party caucuses held, legislators elected, and for 3 days thereafter, all of those young men met to pass laws for governing the state that they had created in that cow barn. And all of these decades and decades later, it all still sounds pretty familiar yet today, doesn't it? Well, except for maybe the cow barn, but it all still sounds very familiar, doesn't it? And Massachusetts Boys and Girls State boasts a very proud and rich history of its own. The American Legion Department of Massachusetts initiated their very first Boys State program in 1944, and with the exception of 1945, when gas rationing made it nearly impossible to travel, the program has existed continuously ever since and has flourished since that time. The dream of having a girls' state in Massachusetts became a reality in 1945 when the American Legion Auxiliary began extended plans for establishing a program. Today, Massachusetts is the only state in the American Legion Boys State and American Legion Auxiliary Girls State that have programs which have merged together to engage and learn simultaneously. You all are the only ones. Each of today's Boys and Girls State programs throughout the country are individualized so as to mirror their own state's government. And that's an extremely, extremely important and primary element of the program. So be assured, Boys and Girls State programs are not cookie-cutter programs. They vary from state to state, they vary from program to program. They're not all the same. But none of those programs are just about learning about government either. It's about participation. It's about learning by doing. And it's learning about not only the government of your state, but also the responsibility of American citizenship. As we heard from Secretary Card this morning, with being American citizens comes great, great responsibility. One way we must fulfill American citizenship is by getting an education. And I'm not just talking about the academic education that you can get in a classroom, as important as that is. I'm also talking about the kind of education that you get by paying attention to and being involved with what's happening in the world around you. That kind of life's education is never complete, and Massachusetts Boys and Girls State provide an excellent springboard for life's education through its leadership and citizenship lessons. An invitation was extended to you all to participate in Boys and Girls State. And just like Secretary Card said, and you put into practice, you accepted that invitation. You accepted that challenge to develop your own Americanism. This week you should be proud. You should be proud that you are joining the prestigious ranks of being a Boys and Girls State alumni. Nationally known alumni, as I'm sure you've heard throughout the week, include former President Bill Clinton of Arkansas, Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito of New Jersey, former Texas Governor Ann Richards, and former Massachusetts State Governor Michael Dukakis, rock musician John Bon Jovi of New Jersey, and news journalist Tom Brokaw of South Dakota and Jane Pauley of Indiana. And be assured that Massachusetts Boys and Girls State has produced some very fine and distinguished alumni of their own, and you've met some this week. And each one of you here today represents a future lawyer, educator, military leader, journalist, clergyman, government official, or businessman or woman. You're just waiting to blossom. But regardless of the path that you all ultimately choose, countless alumni from Boys and Girls State will credit many of the decisions that shaped their lives back to the experience that you've had this week. You will grow from your encounter, you'll be focused, and you'll gain a perspective and direction that'll help you make important decisions in life, those decisions that will shape your life. What a proud Boys State and Girls State legacy that you are now a part of, and that is now forevermore an indelible part of you. I hope this week you've taken to heart the many messages you've heard. You've heard messages from your guest speakers, but I hope especially you've heard the messages from your counselors and your staff. I urge you to not only listen to them, but to also look beyond their words. Look at the men and women who stand behind those words. They are the self-confident, accomplished, focused, balanced people that you see today, not just simply because they say the right words. It's because they believe in their own words, and they actively live those words. What makes people like your Boys and Girls State counselors and staff want to leave their home, family, work, school for a whole week to come here and sleep in a strange bed, get only a few hours of sleep each night, and wake up before each of you at dark 30 to make sure that everything is ready for you to begin another day at Massachusetts Boys and Girls State? What do you think it is that makes them do that? Well, first, it's that they believe in America and all that she stands for. But foremost, it's because they believe in all of you. They believe in entrusting you with the future as citizens of this great state and citizens of our great nation. To paraphrase President Reagan, your future is also our future. And most importantly, they are all living their beliefs. One way they are living it is by being at Massachusetts Boys and Girls State for you, teaching, guiding, giving. They see the future embodied in you, and they take pride in helping you develop and shape that future. And lastly, I urge you to remain ever mindful and help keep others mindful in remembering and appreciating those men and women who have worn a uniform of the United States Armed Forces, those veterans of both past and present, who have served to defend and preserve our nation's freedoms and liberty. You know, prosperity can make it really easy for us to forget the price of freedom, and it's a freedom that has been paid for so many times over by so many. So give a prayer of thanksgiving for all who have served this nation, both those who still walk this earth and those who have gone on before us. But here, now, this week, this day, this evening, I want to extend to each and every one of you the very heartiest of congratulations and excitedly celebrate alongside of you who you are and most especially who you are going to become through your Massachusetts Boys and Girls State experience. This is your week that shapes a lifetime. So now go forth from today and enjoy it, learn from it, believe in it, but most especially go forth now and live it to its fullest. So congratulations again. May God bless you in all that you do and all your endeavors, and may God always bless our great United States of America. Thank you.
I am now excited to introduce Mark Avis, the chairman of the Massachusetts Boys State Program.
Thank you very much for that introduction. First of all, I'd like to thank the Girls State Program for helping the American Legion Boys States Program celebrate their 75th anniversary, and I thank you for that. And also thank you for your patience, all of you, both the Boys States and the Girls States, because whenever we begin this program every year, we have a few bumps in the roads, and it's always fine to know that you young men and you young ladies can help us get through those little bumps in the road that we have so that we can smooth the road and have clear sailing throughout the week. Because it's you that make this program what it is today. You know, we heard a lot today in Jill's speech and about Secretary Card today getting up and giving us a fine speech. I think something that enthralled us all and got us all thinking about just what America is and just what a citizen does to make America what it is. But when the Secretary was talking, he talked about women voting, suffrage, and we remember that, don't we, ladies? Because I heard a loud cheer every time he mentioned that. But soon enough, the American Legion Auxiliary will be celebrating their 75th, and we look forward to celebrating that with you when you have your 75th anniversary also. But one key thing that Secretary Card said when he was speaking, and he spoke about the right of the woman to vote. Well, let me tell you something. When the American Legion was formed in 1919, when its membership was formed, the thing that most set us apart from anybody was that we considered everybody an equal. We were all served in the military, from a general to a private, and there was no rank amongst us. So in 1919, when we held our first vote, if there were women delegates at that national convention, they were allowed to vote. Here in Massachusetts, we are very proud this year, and I'm very proud on the 100th anniversary of the American Legion and the American Legion Boys State Program to celebrate its 75th year. But this year, we elected our second woman department commander. And to us, that is a great milestone. And I am going to cut my words short to you because I want to bring up this next dual member of the American Legion and the American Legion Auxiliary for a few words. Department Commander Jody Pajak, would you please come up and address the body?
Good evening. I always get so excited when I come down to this program. You guys should be thrilled. I mean, come on, what program do you know for a whole week that you, ladies and gentlemen, have complete control of your own governing bodies, your micro control of your own towns, your cities, your governors, your mayors, whoever it is you choose to elect for that day or this week, and you carry forth all of the thoughts in your heads that you'd like to see happen. How cool is that for a program? Come on, tell me you could find one better. Yes? And as you've gone through this week, I'm sure that you will feel the patriotism and the American that is laced through this program that we have given you in Stonehill College. And I hope each of you are aware that you were chosen to be here because you are all natural leaders in one way or form. And I'm confident that you will continue to demonstrate and develop these life skills even long after you leave here. I encourage you to step out of your comfort zone and challenge yourself while you're here because this is the one week be unlike any other that you ever will be in your life. And above all, have fun. And lastly, I ask each of you, ladies, gentlemen, to always speak well of and to uphold and defend our Constitution, and thank a veteran for all they have given. Also appreciate the families and from their support and their devotion they have given to our veterans. Thank you and have a good night.
I am now excited to introduce the Assistant Director of the Massachusetts Girl State Program, Andrea Kimball.
Thank you, everyone. First of all, I'd like to welcome everyone to our inauguration tonight. It is an absolute pleasure and honor to be here with everybody this evening. I find that this week I've been reminiscing quite a bit. I've been thinking a lot about the boys and girl states that I have been blessed to be a part of. Throughout the week, each and every one of you have been learning new topics and concepts, and I too have been learning right along with you. As you have been stepping up and filling new roles, I too have found myself filling some new roles. I feel that I have gone through a journey as well as you all have. And I am so excited to hear about all of the amazing things that you will all do with your futures. I hope that through this week, you have gained the confidence to advocate for what matters and to have discovered the courage to pursue your passions. Remember to take the friendships and the lessons that you've learned this week back home and carry them with you throughout your lives. You will always be a part of the Boys and Girls State family.
I am honored to reintroduce Judge Maria Theophilus to deliver some closing remarks. She was an Associate Justice of the Eastern Division of the Housing Court Department sitting in Boston. Judge Theophilus is a graduate of the New England School of Law and began her legal career as a staff attorney at Greater Boston Legal Services, where she represented low-income tenants in eviction proceedings. She later joined the law firm of Broderick Bancroft in Newton, where she specialized in civil litigation matters with a focus on subsidized, low-income housing, property management, and housing discrimination law. She has served as a co-chair of the Middlesex Committee of the Women's Bar Association and has presented at numerous housing law trainings sponsored by the Boston Bar Association's Volunteer Lawyers Project. She grew up in Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts, and attended college in Worcester, Ohio, where she studied sociology and Spanish. She now lives in the Metro West suburbs with her husband and 3 children. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Maria Theophilus.
Good evening. I am so honored to be standing before such a bright, motivated, and talented group of young people. I'm going to veer off of my prepared remarks for a moment to tell you that I had no idea what I was going to be walking into tonight. And the energy in the room, the moment I walked in, was palpable. I was a little bit overwhelmed when I was walking down this aisle, seeing all of your bright faces, seeing the future of the United States of America right here in this room. And I love the enthusiasm. I've got to tell you, I just came from my 10-year-old son's Little League playoff game, and I didn't think it could be any louder here than it was at that game. And I'm thrilled to see the enthusiasm and the support that you all obviously have for each other. It's clear that the team building that's been done this week has been effective, and I am so moved. I was almost moved to tears walking up that aisle and feeling that energy. And I cannot tell you how honored I am to be a part of it. And I love to hear the girls be as loud as the boys. You can do it, ladies. I know you can. On a serious note, you are such a credit to your schools and to your cities and towns for qualifying to participate in this amazing program. High school can be so difficult on so many fronts, socially and academically. There are so many distractions and temptations which could lead you to veer off course. You all have obviously stayed the course, focused on your academics, on your communities, and on the future that lies ahead of all of you. It will not get any easier, but with the tools you've developed this week, I believe you are better prepared to handle whatever is ahead. I have been so looking forward to being here tonight as I've learned about this program these past few months and am beyond impressed with its content and with the challenges that have been placed before you this week. I know you've all worked so hard for the days that you've been here, and it's obvious from the wonderful speeches that I heard from the two governors how much energy and work and diligence has been put into these days that you've been here. I'm going to make a few remarks tonight. I'm going to try to keep it brief, and I just want to tell you a little bit about my journey, as you are all on your own journeys, which are sure to lead you to becoming future leaders of your generation. I'm the daughter of an immigrant. My father was born in a small village in southern Greece, just outside of Sparta. He was a doctor trained in Athens, and he immigrated to Boston to further his studies and to practice. My mother's parents were also born in a small village in southern Greece. They immigrated to the United States in the 1920s under different circumstances from my father. They were not educated as my father had been. They spoke no English, and they fled from Greece during a time of great unrest. They had nothing of material value when they arrived here. All they had were their dreams that they could provide better lives for their children and their grandchildren, that their children and grandchildren would go to college and have careers. They worked 20 hours a day in a restaurant in the South End in order to further those dreams. My mother and her sister went to college in Boston despite speaking only Greek at home and learning English for the first time when they went to school. My mother became a teacher and taught first in Quincy and then in Jamaica Plain, where I grew up. The dreams of my grandparents and parents were nearly shattered when my father died suddenly when I was 3 years old and my sister was 5. This left my mother struggling to survive, to raise us alone, and to make some very tough decisions while I was growing up. She often had to decide whether to pay the oil bill so we could have heat, or with whether to pay the mortgage or buy groceries. She continued her teaching job on a meager salary, but some winters had to work weekends answering the phone at the oil company in order to work to pay off our oil bill. Those were tough, cold times. But my mother maintained the same vision that her parents had for her through it all. That my sister and I would go to college and that we would have careers and contribute to our communities. I can't tell you the number of times I heard my mother say, "You are going to college no matter what." And many of you may be hearing that now from your parents. My mother taught us the value of hard work, of caring for others, and for contributing to your community. We had so much help from family, friends, our communities, teachers and coaches who took an interest in us and in the Greek community. And I'll never forget that. And I always wanted to be able to give back. I was so lucky to have the tools I needed and the foundation that led me to go to college and then to law school. I went to New England Law, where many students' journeys mirrored the journey of my family. I decided I wanted to give back to my community by serving at legal services, where I ran into families struggling as my family did. My clients were single mothers with the same dreams my mother had for us, but they may not have had educational opportunities, may not have spoken English, or had extended communities and families ready to help. They were struggling to maintain stable housing for their children because they knew without that, the lives of their children would be gravely impacted. I worked in the housing unit and in the health and disability units at Greater Boston Legal Services, where I saw the impact that disabilities could have on the lives of families. I realized how close my family had been to losing our home, to being forced out of our community, as many families I worked with had been. And it was at that time that I decided to dedicate myself to the issues of housing, as I realized the important role that safe, stable, and affordable housing played in providing safe communities and contributing to the success of children in school, of families staying together, and of the disabled and elderly being able to remain independent. I was so fortunate to be selected by Governor Baker to serve on the Judiciary in Housing Court, where I am tasked with dispensing justice to those who are truly in need. When I met with the governor before he selected me, I looked out of the window of his office, which overlooked the Boston Common, where my grandmother had often traveled, and I thought that never in my wildest dreams did I ever imagine myself sitting with the governor of Massachusetts, talking with him about the possibility of my serving the Commonwealth as a judge. Thank you. My grandmother did imagine a moment like that, however, as did my parents, and their hard work and dedication, an example they set, led me to that moment. And I'm sure that many of you have parents and grandparents with those same dreams and hopes for you. Grandparents and parents who sacrificed for you. I cannot imagine how proud they must be of you tonight. I want to leave you with a few words. I would want you to continue to dream big dreams, to work hard, to believe in yourself, to take advantage of every opportunity before you, such as you did by participating in this program, and never give up. Thank you again for including me in this special night. It has been an honor to speak to you. Thank you.
So before we let you all go and have some fun at the dance, I'd like to leave you with a few thoughts to chew on as we go into the last few days of this program. But first, I would like to give one big thank you to the American Legion Auxiliary for hosting this program and putting on this week and all of the work that's gone into it. Democracy is America's most significant export. In 1630, future Massachusetts Governor John Winthrop said of a fledgling government that we shall be a city upon a hill and that the eyes of all people shall be upon us. Now more than ever, we sit as a city on a hill. This week has been a week of friendship, camaraderie, and debate. But as we sit here tonight in the culmination of our program, we must not forget that right now, across the world, real people are dying in the name of democracy. Each time you debated a bill, cast a vote, asked a question, stated your opinion, you strengthened what they started 300 years ago. I do not say this lightly, but democracy is alive in you. You have proven through the past few days that you are smart, compassionate, brave, and capable. Democracy is both tough and improbable because it relies on the faith that people can be better than they are, that they can come together, that they can disagree and debate and come out unified on the other side. I am here to tell you that all of us have full faith in you. Tonight is a celebration of all that you have accomplished this week, but it is also a thank you. Thank you, Massachusetts Girls and Boys State of 2019, for the small part that you have played in keeping the lights on in our city upon a hill. Thank you. Ms. McDermott, may we hear from the band? Or the chorus, the Massachusetts Boys and Girls State Chorus. It says music. What? A minute and a half. Oh yeah, he's going to use it.
Stormy clouds gather from across the sea. May we swear allegiance to hand that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so as we raise our voices in a song of prayer. God bless America, land
Mr. McDermott, may we have some music while the Sergeant at Arms escorts the distinguished guests from the stage.